Both teams contributed to probably the lowest level game I've seen Manchester United in this season. But despite the low technical level, there were still tactical facets and at times a lack of to pick through. But before we look at this game, I need to set the scene with what happened in the game at Old Trafford earlier in the season. Let's go to the whiteboard. Bielsa's man-for-man system has been one of the biggest tactical talking points of the season due to the fluctuation of its success. The main issue with this tactic is the lack of spatial control Leeds have over the field. Simple movements can open up huge spaces due to Leeds players having to follow their designated man no matter where they go on the field. So, a solid game plan of deciding where the space is going to be created and who is then going to occupy that space can get the better of this system. In the fixture at Old Trafford, United exploited Leeds' man-for-man system through Fernandez's lateral movement, pulling Phillips out of central areas. McTominay was then making forward runs into the space vacated by Phillips and Fernandez, and of course McTominay got 2 goals. To highlight how successful United were at this is Calvin Phillips' heat map of the game at Old Trafford. We can see how much time Phillips spent out of this central midfield position due to the lateral movement of Fernandez, pulling him out of this area. In Sunday's game, Fernandez's movement was more vertical, which kept Phillips in central areas where he had a huge influence on the game. For me, he was the best player on the pitch by a mile. Going to Phillips' heat map in Sunday's game, you can see how his positioning was a lot more central, because he wasn't getting pulled out of those areas as he was in the Old Trafford fixture. But overall, United were too static to affect Leeds' man-for-man system, which allowed Leeds to maintain a defensive structure. On occasions, we did see some movement to open up space, but this wasn't backed up with runners looking to attack the space created. Going to screenshots of the game, Greenwood has dropped deep into midfield, opening up this space behind him. There is an opportunity for James and/or Wan-Bissaka to attack this space, but they stay static. In this next example, Greenwood again drops off deep into midfield, opening this space up. Fred should be looking to attack that space and create this passing angle for Greenwood. But again, he stays static, maintaining this reoccurring issue with United's midfield of always playing in a straight line, creating no midfield depth. But there was one occasion when United synchronised their movement to open Leeds up. Greenwood again dropped deep, opening the space up in behind. And just like waiting for a London bus, 2 came along at the same time, with 2 United runners breaking into that space and they got in each other's way. For me, this is Fernandez's fault. James is the easy target as the inferior player, but as soon as James got on the end of that ball, Fernandez should have stopped his run. Instead, he continued to run beyond James and confuses the situation for him. The big positive from the game is how Rashford is starting to perfect this outside to inside run and the synchronicity Lindelof has with Rashford to exploit these runs being made. The Devils' verdict is United's movement off the ball into the spaces created was poor, which made it easier for Leeds to handle their attack. But despite Leeds having scored 50 Premier League goals so far this season, United didn't look like conceding, and consequently didn't look like losing the game. However, it was a 5th straight Premier League game in which United failed to score in the first half. Failing to stamp authority on games, especially against inferior opposition, is allowing teams to grow into games, which ends up causing United problems. Against a defence-minded Roma, I want to see United start on the front foot, get ahead in the game, which will force Roma at some stage in the tie to take the game to United. If United achieve that scenario, they will go through to the final, but if they are too passive and allow Roma to grow confidence in the tie, it will be a 5th semi-final failure for Oli. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on the game. Thank you for watching, and please like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you in the next video.